wanted to be closer to me. They were a pair, those two. Both of them had been abandoned by their respective husbands long ago, and they seemed to encourage each other's bitterness toward men and overall lack of enthusiasm in life. They both had jobs, but neither of them were fond of their work. Mom worked as a cashier at a big department store, and Aunt Regina waited tables at Waffle House. They worked in the same shopping center, and they tried to arrange their schedules so that they could carpool. Neither of them worked full-time. They lived paycheck to paycheck, barely scraping by, and often spending more than they made. This was especially frustrating when they made unwise choices, like renting a condo on the same floor of the same building as me that was quite a bit more expensive simply because it had a slightly better view. They told me over and over that I should just move in with them so we could save on rent. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. Don't get me wrong, I really did love my mom and Aunt Regina. In spite of my annoyances, we didn't fight or otherwise have a lot of relational drama. Mostly, I just kept my irritation bottled up. We were family, and ultimately, I knew they would do anything in their power for me if I needed it, but I really never needed it. At least, not financially like they did. Sometimes, when I had to stay late at work for parent-teacher meetings or had something else going on, Mom came over to take my blue heeler, Sheila, out for a quick walk or over to her place so that she wouldn't be stuck in her kennel. I had another neighbor I called on in a pinch before Mom had moved to Miami, but having family here did make it easier. On those occasions, it was nice to have them in the building, but sometimes their proximity proved to be a real challenge, and today was one of those days. I had just finished having an uncomfortable conversation with my mom that ended in me handing her $160 that I was sure wouldn't be paid back. Aunt Regina had to call in sick all last week to work, I said, answering Brandon's question about why our aunt couldn't pay the electric bill. She still hasn't gone back. I talked to Mom 2 days ago, and she didn't mention anything about Aunt Gina being sick, Brandon said. She probably didn't want to bother you with it. And she's not really sick. I mean, not like the flu or anything. What's wrong with her? Brandon asked. Her back, I said. She thinks it's a pinched nerve. Waiting tables is hard for someone her age. She's on her feet the whole time, and she won't splurge for some nice shoes, even though I told her it would help. Well, then tell her to get a different job, Brandon said in an impatient tone. I let out a long, audible sigh, feeling frustrated with myself for calling when I knew he would react this way. What? Brandon asked at my sigh. It's not your problem, Sidney. They're grown women. Let them take care of themselves. If she gets to hurting enough, she'll get some better shoes or a different job. That's on her. That was easy for him to say. He and his family lived all the way up in Orlando. And even if they didn't, Mom probably wouldn't ask him for anything. I had heard her tell Aunt Regina one time that I had plenty of money to spare since I had that good teaching job and didn't have a family to support like Brandon. I stayed silent on the phone, thinking about those things and wishing Brandon would just be gracious and let me vent to him rather than reacting defensively. He had been using a frustrated tone since I mentioned what was bothering me. I knew that would be the result of me calling him, but I had been hoping against hope that this conversation would have a different result. I just wanted him to say, "Oh, I'm sorry," or Don't worry, sister.